What's up YouTube, welcome back to Celio's Network. Today we're looking at a brand new Mewtwo Mew variant mixed with Pikarom and a Galarian Sirfetch'd V thrown in there. This deck was created by Pedro Torres and Tord Reklev for the Players Cup 2 Phase 2, and Danny Altavia took the variant, changed a few cards, and won a recent online tournament with it. So we are looking at Danny Altavia's list here with the Mewtwo Pika variant created by Tord and Pedro. Before we get into the deck list and some games on the PTCGO ladder, shout out to PotownStore.com, the best place for you to get PTCGO codes. Use code CELIO for 5% off. It directly supports my channel and the content that I create. So if you've been following standard format, playing in some tournaments throughout the Darkness Ablaze format, you probably know what a fair bit of these cards do. So I'm not going to go over every card individually and bore you with that. But what I will do is explain the synergy and why this deck is working. So the fault with Mewtwo and Mew decks, or most Mewtwo and Mew variants in standard format, is that they will typically rely on Welder, at least getting Welder somewhere in the first 1, 2, or 3 turns of the game to accelerate energy onto the board. That's a problem because that means the supporter you have to play is Welder, you have to have fire energy in your hand, you have to play fire energy because you're playing Welder. Another variant that came out and was fairly short-lived was the Psychic Mewtwo that used Rotom to attach energy from your discard pile. So Boltund, I believe, is more consistent and therefore sometimes better than both Rotom and Welder. Boltund's Electrify is searching your deck for lightning energy and attaching them to your benched Pokemon, and in the early game you're always going to have basic lightning energy in your deck. So Boltund is just a very consistent source of energy acceleration. And of course the lightning type also has Tapu Koko Prism's Dance of the Ancients ability at its disposal, so either early for some quick acceleration you can get 2 extra energy onto the board, or late in the game after energy has been knocked off of your Pokemon you can get it back with Tapu Koko Prism. So that's why the lightning package is so valuable, because it's a very consistent source of energy starting on turn 1 at the earliest. Of course, Pikarom and Raichu have been very, very strong attackers ever since they came out. So, of course, we're going to throw them in there as well. So, Pikarom, full blitz for 150. This also accelerates energy, and then Tag Bolt's a very strong attack. Raichu's Tandem Shock has been a very powerful attack with Paralysis ever since it came out. Paralysis is typically strong in the Pokemon TCG because it stops your opponent's Pokemon from attacking or retreating for a turn unless they can switch out of it. This is typically paired with things like Reset Stamp, Power Plant, or Chaotic Swell to further try to stop your opponent from doing things. So Tandem Shock, very strong attack, and for 5 energy it does 250 and then switches out, and you put something else active with the Lightning Rod GX attack. So Lightning Rod GX is a very, very solid option for GX attack. So we have all these lightning attackers. We have the Boltund to accelerate energy. Don't forget it also has Bolt Storm. We have Pikarom and Raichu, which are just the poster boys of lightning decks. But aside from that, this is a Mewtwo deck. So it is a toolbox deck with all of these different attackers. There are 4 Aurora energy in here so we can use different types of attacks. And let's start looking at what exactly they are. We've got Milotic V as your Centiskorch counter if you actually attack with Milotic V. Well, you have to attack with Milotic V, my bad. We can't copy V Pokemon. I should mention that just in case you are a bit newer. You can copy GX Pokemon with Mewtwo and Mew, but you can't copy the V Pokemon because V Pokemon were not out yet when Mewtwo and Mew came out. A little slip of the brain there. So yeah, Milotic, very good to attack into Centiskorch. The problem is you can't copy it with Mewtwo and Mew, so the energy has to go directly to Milotic since this deck doesn't play any way to switch your energy around. But you could, let's say attach 1 Aurora energy to Milotic and then electrify energy to 2 different Pokemon, one of them being Milotic, next turn attach, or even just attach an Aurora energy, next turn attach, then Koko Prism Dance of the Ancients to Milotic V to set it up to attack. So yeah, Milotic V, very good against Centiskorch, and Mewtwo decks have struggled with Centiskorch just due to Mewtwo being a 3-prize basic Pokemon that Centiskorch can reach high numbers on. Mewtwo and Mew can sometimes have trouble dealing with Centiskorch VMAX. Greninja's Mist Slash for 130. It goes through all effects of attacks, so this is really good to go through Galarian Obstagoon or Decidueye from Darkness Ablaze. Vileplume-GX is just a very solid 2 energy attack to copy with Mewtwo Mew Tag Team. Like I mentioned, we can't copy V Pokemon. Boltund does have a very solid attack, but Mewtwo Mew Tag Team has higher HP, so you're going to want to put your energy on Mewtwo Mew and start attacking with that. Boltund is primarily there for Electrify, but Bolt Storm is also a very solid attack, like I said. But Massive Bloom for 180 for 2 is just a really nice attack to have at your disposal. Naganadel-GX Venom Shot does 170 to one of your opponent's Pokemon for and you discard 2 energy, so this can snipe a Dedenne, and most decks are going to have Dedennes on the bench. We have Gengar Mimikyu, Poltergeist 50 for every trainer in your opponent's hand, and then Horror House is a big deal because it stops your opponent from playing any cards next turn, so you can use this especially versus like a VMAX deck. So you Horror House them before they can evolve, and then next turn you boss up the V and Poltergeist and hope after they drop to 7 with Horror House that they have a lot of trainers in their hand, you can knock it out. Galarian Sirfetch'd is super interesting. So its ability Resolute Spear. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to the active spot, you may move any amount of fighting energy from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon. Now it needs 2 fighting and a colorless, so that means you can use 2 Aurora and then 1 Lightning to attack with it. My issue with this is I feel like it's very good versus Eternatus on paper, but Mewtwo Mew-GX can just get one shot by Eternatus, so that's kind of my main issue with this. So if you have the Aurora energy down and you hit into Eternatus at all with Mewtwo Mew, there's a very good possibility that Mewtwo Mew is getting knocked out and that Aurora energy is no longer on the board, and then you can't switch it over to Galarian Sirfetch'd V with its Resolute Spear attack. So that's my main issue with Galarian Sirfetch'd V, but I'm sure it does work out at least some of the time, because Pedro and Tord and Danny all kept Galarian Sirfetch'd in the deck. It's also good against other Pikarom decks as well, since it's fighting type and they're weak to fighting. And I think we went over all the tech attackers and kind of like why the deck should on paper work and why it has proven itself to work. The Galarian Sirfetch'd, I'm interested to see if we get to use it in these games on PTCGO. So let's go play on the ladder with the deck and see how it goes. We're getting to choose first or second. Our opponent has a fire deck, so it really makes me want to choose to go second. Or fire deck box and a fire coin, I should say. We don't know if they actually have a fire deck. But also, I feel like going second could be the correct choice with this deck, and I wanted to try that out. So let's see how it goes. Because you want to use Electrify early, so in theory, it seems like going second should be good. Okay, it's a Baby Blacephalon deck. I don't think we have like a direct answer to that, so that could be an issue. We have Reset Stamp. I guess that's our answer to Baby Blacephalon. And they're drawing cards. They got 2 Blounds down. They're getting Jirachi here. They got Oricorio set up already. They're having quite the first turn. Now let us see what we can do. So we can Cherish Ball out a GX Pokemon that we want to discard. That's a good start. Also just check our deck. Now like I said, I don't think we really have anything that counters Blacephalon in here. We'll grab Vileplume and get rid of it. And we'll go ahead and get rid of that. And do we get rid of Research? Like, how much does Marnie hurt them? We know they have 1 fire energy, but that's not really enough to want to research. I meant to want to Marty. Excuse me, yeah, we'll get rid of Marnie then. Still acclimating myself with the deck. We'll do this. Get rid of that. And I don't believe we'll be needing Sirfetch'd or Milotic. Milotic could come into handy, actually. Yeah, so Milotic could end up being okay if they play Reshizard down. If they're even playing Reshizard at all, then that could be okay. So we'll Aurora Energy away the Galarian Sirfetch'd since we don't need that. We'll play down our Mew Mew and then research. Okay, for some pretty decent cards here. Do we have any lightning in there yet? No, we don't have lightning in the discard yet, so we're not doing anything with Koko just yet. So I think we'll just electrify on to Mewtwo and Mew tag team from here. Okay. So far the deck is looking very smooth. Happy that I don't have to play Welder. That's a plus. Speaking of Welder, my opponent does have to play Welder. Oh, okay. A single energy to the... Oh no. I cursed them. I said Welder. Good thing we didn't Marnie. Alright, this is probably going to be our game to win from that point. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Because what I really want to do is set up for a tag bolt, and I guess I could just do that, right? We can there's nothing stopping us from just electrifying 2 more energy onto the board. Yeah, there's really nothing stopping us from doing that. We don't need to play a supporter here. And we don't want to draw into like all of our energy or something incredibly unlucky like that. So I think we'll just electrify again, and then next turn, because the goal here is to tag bolt their Oricorio. That's the goal. Because Oricorio is the way they get back into this game. Energy Spinner. We could even potentially go for boss, and we can knock out Crobat and Oricorio. Okay, they're attaching another energy here, and oh, okay, retreating. Interesting. Grab a Hearth. So they still don't have a Welder. So I don't want to Marnie them. Their hand's actually really bad, it would seem. There's the energy we needed. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. We're going to go ahead and grab a Dedenne here. And we'll Dedenne this hand away. Okay, we do not get a boss, but we'll still just take these 3 prizes. That's very, very good. Basically knocking out the Oricorio is the big deal here. And I don't want to Marnie them. They got rid of a Dedenne, so they can't play down the... I think we'll just retreat and swing. Yeah, Tag Bolt and knock out Oricorio. So we take 3 prizes, and we get the knockout on Oricorio, which is the big deal. That's huge. And we also knock out Jirachi, which is huge too, because both of their cards that could let them see more cards are now knocked out. So that was really good, and I think if you were going to learn something from that single game there, it's that I took the extra turn to electrify with Boltund instead of start taking knockouts. Because if I decide to take a knockout there instead, that would allow them to use Oricorio GX's ability to draw cards, and that could have just changed the entire game. But I noticed they didn't have a Welder, and I took advantage of that. Let's go into another game with this deck after we get some Poke Coins. Yeah, so definitely a very important thing to notice there is that I could have easily just jammed attack with Boltund or full blitz with Mewtwo and get my energy that way. But I think it was just crucial there that I did exactly what I did. Would I like to go first? No, I'm going to go second again because it worked out really well for me that time. Starting with the Dedenne is fine when you play 3. And looks like we're playing against Mad Party. 2 games in a row where I'm like, we should have Vikavolt in this deck. That's 2 games in a row where I wanted Vikavolt. Okay, Evolution, Incense, Double Quick Ball. Lots of stuff happening here. And they got 3 partiers, and that's it. Okay, so really good start again. Yeah, really good. We'll grab our Boltund. And since they do have a psychic attacker, we're just going to want to use Pikarom. I don't think we want to use Mewtwo as our attacker here. So we'll get out our Pikarom. Switch to Bolty. And there's no other supporter we want to use this turn. So we'll just take the extra card with a research and we save ourselves a bench spot. We'll play Swell. I'm not sure if Mad Party like typically plays a specific stadium, but we'll play the Swell. And then we'll Electrify. 2 energy onto the peak. Okie doke. So that's 2 games in a row where this deck is just super smooth. The deck doesn't... so my first impressions after 2 games with it, or I'm in my second game, but also just like looking at the lists and the variations and the results from the past couple days, the list seems like it doesn't have like pop-off potential turn 1 really, because I'm not sure what you could really do turn 1 since there's no energy switches. It doesn't really have pop-off potential, but it does seem like it's really smooth. Like it'll consistently do what it's supposed to, kind of like Pikarom. It's kind of like Pikarom in that way, but it also has the versatility of a Mewtwo deck, but without the welder. So yeah, this deck is really good. They're down a Great Catcher and 2 Boss. That's not amazing for them. Mad Party, let's go. They don't get the knockout. They only do 60 damage. That's nothing. What do we want to do here? We could Electrify again. We could Bolt Storm. I actually think Bolt Storm's fine. Bolt Storm for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, we can knock out I believe we can knock out the Dedenne here. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and grab this. We leave an energy on the board, but we don't throw a the thing is, we don't throw another Mad Partier into the discard for them by knocking out this Bunnelby. And that could cause them to go aggressive, and then we knock out the Bunnelby, and then they're down another Mad Partier on the board that they would need to attack with later on. I could, like I said, I could Electrify like I did last game. That's definitely a possibility. So, but see... if I Electrify, I'm leaving the Bunnelby alive, or I could Bolt Storm this Dedenne, take 2 prizes, leave the Bunnelby alive. I think I'd rather take 2 prizes and then next turn go for the full blitz. So we'll do this, discard that, play this down. Let me see what they did last turn. They played Research. Evolve. Okay, they have like a ton of draw power, so I feel like Marnie shouldn't matter too much. Oh no, that's right. We're playing boss. What am I saying? I was still debating. Do I want to it's somewhere in my head. I was still debating that, but yeah, we're definitely doing this. This is definitely the play we're going with. Just a little just a little slippity doodah there. Yeah, so definitely bossing. Bolt Storm, knock out the Dedenne for 160, perfect lethal. We'll take our 2 prizes. Now, if they can knock out the Boltund here for 140 damage, they then have to reach up to 240 to knock out the Pika. Milo, interesting choice. Roxy's just better. Yeah, Roxy's just better than Milo. If they were to play down more evolution, not evolution Pokemon, I saw evolution incense. If they were to play down more multiple prize Pokemon, we'd be really good to go. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 partiers in the party. They need 2 more to knock out Boltund. Also notable here, they'll knock out Boltund for 2 prizes, and then even if they do knock out Pikarom the next turn, oh, there's a Mew. Okay, so we're gonna just boss Mew, full blitz it. That's the plan. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Okay, so they'll get the knockout on Boltund here. But then we're not going to knock out the Mad Partier yet again. So they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 140. They'll have to get 5 more. And they play... They don't have 5 more to put in there. So we're good. Because they have 4 on the board. There's 16 total. No, wait, they could possibly have that, right? Yeah, so there's 2, 7, and then 4 on the board, 11, 5 left. So there's 5 left over. They would need to get 4 of them. Did the discard, is that correct? Yeah, because no, they need to get all 5. They need to get all 5 to the discard. Reset Stamp is actually I think that's the best draw I could have gotten there. No, actually another Pikarom would have been good. But yeah, so we'll Reset Stamp. Because we can't Marnie because I want to boss up this Mew here. So we'll bring up the Mew. Honestly, attached to Dedenne isn't the worst thing I can do. Yeah, we'll attach to Dedenne and then full blitz. Now we'll put 3 to peak. Now they have to get the knockout on peak here, or I believe I will win the game. I believe I just win if they don't get the knockout on peak. Maybe that's not true, because I needed a better attacker on the bench than Dedenne. Okay, there's another partier. So they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 160. That's 180. They need 3 more. So yeah, they need to have no Mad Partier's prize. They need to be able to draw into all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 200 they're doing now. They need to do 240 here, which they could have potentially done if they were just playing Roxy instead of Milo, if they were playing the Roxy Wheezing package. Here's Quick Ball, getting rid of Oricorio for a Bunnelby. Not benching the Oricorio. They would have lost if they did that. So good thing they did not do that. Where's Target Whistle in standard format when you need it? So let's see. If they don't knock out the peak, then I believe we should win. Boss to knock out the Dedenne. Okay. Ah, that's really good, actually. Because they're just about forcing me to knock out. They're like forcing me to knock this out. Okay. So the thing I'm thinking right now is I wish this deck had Big Charm. That's my current thought. They probably put their other Mad Partier or an Energy on top. So what I'm thinking is, Marnie, is it enough? I need Reset Stamp, I think. We do have Reset Stamp in there in a 28 card deck, though. Yeah, so I think I'm looking for Reset Stamp. No Reset Stamp yet. We won't be needing that. All in all, no matter what happens, this has been a very solid game. I do think they would have probably been able to win earlier, though, if they were playing the Roxy package with Weezing. So I could Marnie them, but they set the top card of their deck with Guru, and I just feel like I have to assume they set the top deck as something they want, so I'm going to dig for the stamp and see if we hit it. We do hit the stamp. That's huge. We hit the stamp. And now we pray that Tag Bolt works. So the stamp, knock out both things with energy on it, see if this works. If they have energy, they win. So that's why we had to go for the stamp there, because I assume they set the top deck as energy with Guru. So Marnie wouldn't have done anything. Milo, don't let me lose to Milo. Oh, they do play Roxy. They play Roxy and Milo. Are they whiffing the energy? No, they got the energy. GG. GG. Alright, that was actually a really good game. Somehow we managed to only queue up against single prize decks with the Mew3, Lightning, Pika, whatever you want to call it. But I think this deck is actually really busted. It kind of came out right at the end of the format. This will probably be the last new deck of this standard format before we get into Vivid Voltage. Excuse me, but I think it's really good. It's a force to be reckoned with, and it's super consistent and smooth. I highly suggest you trying this out if you've ever liked Pikarom or Mewtwo of any variant. This just feels like playing this feels like playing Mewtwo without the welder, or it feels like Pika but with more options. So if either of those sound appealing to you, I highly suggest trying this deck out. I'll leave the export down in the description below, as well as links to my Twitch, my Patreon, my Twitter, PotownStore.com, my TCG player affiliate link, all that good stuff down in the description below. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you did not already for daily Pokemon TCG content. Leave a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed it, and a comment down below. It really helps out the channel. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.